Hello everyone, welcome back to my videos. My apologies for not getting you guys a video last week. Life happened. I got my second COVID shot. There was a bunch of totally unpredicted rain that wasn't in the forecast. There was Canada Day and just family stuff. But I'm happy to be back this week, and I'm super happy about this week's topic. So for this week, I'm going to start, and next week, and I don't know how many weeks following, we'll see. I'm going to get into wild foraging and harvesting medicines and things like that. And I had originally thought to do it all in one video, but then it would be a really long video. So I'm breaking it up into different parts. And for this first part, we're going to go over basically how to harvest things sustainably and honorably in a good way, and things you need to take into consideration just to get the maximum benefits from your medicines and the edibles that you choose to eat. So the first part that I want to go over for you guys is called the Teachings of the Honorable Harvest, and these are indigenous teachings on how to harvest things sustainably and in a good way. These teachings were first introduced to me by grandmother Karen Williams. She used to be the grandmother who worked at Minwashin Lodge many years ago. And then they were reintroduced to me again later on by the author Robin Wall Kimmerer, who writes the books Braiding Sweetgrass and Gathering Moss. So the first part of the Teachings of the Honorable Harvest is to know the ones that take care of you so that you will know how to take care of them. And basically what that means, in indigenous culture, at least in some teachings, I can't speak for every nation because I haven't learned them all, but at least the ones that I've learned. It's believed that the Creator put like the stone people and the plant people and the four-leggeds and the swimming creatures and the flying creatures, he put them all here first. And that was so that they could then care for us and help us and guide us and teach us when we, the two-leggeds, came. And the reason why it's really important to know about the plants that you're going to harvest, it's to help form a good reciprocal relationship with those plants and medicines. You know, how would you feel if every time somebody walked up to you, instead of introducing themselves, the first words out of their mouth was, "What can you do for me?" And then they just take what they can from you and walk away? You wouldn't be very happy. It wouldn't be a very good way to build a reciprocal relationship. So that's why the first part is to know about the plants that are going to be giving you medicine. You know what they need, know how to take care of them, and at minimum, you should at least know how to harvest them in a good, undamaging, sustainable way. And an example of that is, this is the lemon balm from my herb planter video. And I knew nothing about lemon balm when I made that video, but I learned. And I actually learned that it makes excellent tea to help with digestive issues. So in the fall, when I cut this lemon balm back, I'm going to take all of it and I'm going to dry it and I'm going to use it to make tea. So the next part of the honorable harvest is to always introduce yourself to the plant, to the medicine that you're going to be taking from. And this ties into the first teaching of forming reciprocal relationships with the plants that are going to be caring for you. Like I said before, you know, if people just demanded, what can you do for me, that wouldn't form a very good reciprocal relationship. So just as we always introduce ourselves to new people, you introduce yourself to the plant. And if you're not comfortable with saying it out loud, you don't have to. You can say it in your head. But traditionally, the way I was taught it is you come up to it and you introduce yourself by your name, and you introduce basically like a formal introduction for ceremonial purposes. You know, what's your name, what's your spirit name, what's your clan, who are your ancestors, where are you from, that sort of stuff. And again, like I said, you don't have to say it out loud if you're not comfortable, but do at least do it in your head. So after you've introduced yourself to the plant that you tend to harvest from, the next thing you want to do is to make an offering. And that can be, if it's going to be used for medicine, some tobacco. If you happen to find something while you're out and about and you don't have any tobacco with you, you can offer some hair. I have used water, given it a little bit of water because I had some water with me. Something, as long as you're giving something to the plant in return for what it's giving to you. And the other thing you want to do is make sure you give thanks to it. Before anything else, you say thank you for it even considering giving you what you need. And this is where the teachings of the Honorable Harvest become a bit difficult for some people, and why people don't always follow through with them. So you're going to offer it whatever you have, whether it be the tobacco or your hair or whatever. You're going to give thanks to it, and then you're going to ask permission to take from it. So if I wanted to harvest from this cedar, I would ask it permission, and then you have to listen for what the answer is, and you have to abide by what the answer is. And the reason why this part's so hard is one is a lot of us have forgotten how to listen. A lot of us, you know, we've been raised in a culture now where whenever we want something or whenever we need something, we can just go to the store and get it. Or if we can't get it at the store, we can just go on Amazon and order it, and like that we have what we want. So we're not used to being told no. And so we need to relearn how to listen, and we need to relearn how to accept no as an answer. So if I were to introduce myself to the cedar and then offer it some tobacco, give thanks to it, I would probably, you know, let's say I was harvesting a piece for my new medicine bundle that I made last week. I would explain to it that it was going to go in my medicine bundle, and that it was going to just all the things that it would do to help me, and the benefits that it would give to me. And then I would take a moment and I would listen. And if it says yes, then I take it. And if it says no, then I move on, even though it's something I want. So if you've gone through all the steps and you introduced yourself, you offered something to it, you said thank you asked permission, you listened for the answer, and the answer is yes. Great. Now you need, this is the second part of the honorable harvest that's difficult to abide by, and that is, well, you'll hear some people say, only take what is given. Sorry, only take what you need, is what some people will say, but in my teachings, which is a little bit step further than that, is to only take what is given. And basically how that works is, like, let's say I went to take, I'm not actually going to take it because I don't need cedar at this moment, but let's say I was going to take this branch and I take it off and it comes easily. That means it was given. And then let's say I move down here to this branch here and I pull and I pull and I pull and it's not coming, and it's going to require a lot of force to get it off. That means that branch is not given, and you have to respect that. The other part about only taking what is given, with so much, nowadays there's been so many people who haven't been harvesting responsibility, that there are some plants that are just over harvested and they're endangered, and it doesn't matter if they're willing to give, we shouldn't take from them. And this ties in with the first part of the honorable harvest, which was to know the plants that you're going to harvest from. For example, there's a plant out there right now. It's called wild leeks. It's edible. Some people might know it as ramps, but it's like super endangered because people have been over harvesting from it for so long that I won't even teach people what it looks like, because I don't want them harvesting it. You know, they, outside of the principles of the honorable harvest, if you take like a wild edibles course, they'll teach things like only take 10% or only take 1 in 3. In the case of the wild leeks, even that's too much right now because they're so endangered from over harvesting. So the next part also ties in with how you go about harvesting the plants. So once you've gotten permission to go ahead and harvest, you never take the first and you never take the last. And this is to make sure that there's always some left over for somebody else. So if you're out gathering and you come across something and it's the first one you come across, you don't take that. You wait until you find another one, and then you can start taking. And you always make sure you don't take the last one that's there, that you always leave some for somebody else to use. So the last two parts of the honorable harvest are pretty simple. They are always harvest in a way that is not harmful. So like, I wouldn't just grab this plant here and yank it out by its roots. That's very harmful. That's not good for the plant. Typically you would want something sharp, whether it be a knife or scissors or pruners. Something that's sharp to cut off what you need is typically the least harmful thing. But if you happen to be out and about and you find something and you know you need it and you've done all the above steps and you're okay to take it, but you don't have something sharp, you can always use your fingernails. They're not the greatest, but they are still better than just ripping. Um, just ripping something is the most harmful way you can harvest it. And as I mentioned before, you know, like, only take what you need, and you know the plant and know what it's capable of giving to you. And then the final part of it is to always use everything that you harvest. Never let anything go to waste. For example, if you're harvesting sage and you take the leaves off the branch, and then you're going to dry the like this is after you've dried it, and you're going to use leaves to smudge, you can actually take the branches. I've done crafts with them. You can tie them together in bundles and then burn them if you want to. I've been told that it makes an excellent insect repellent, but I've never tried it myself, so I don't know if that's true or not. One little side note for always use everything you harvest. There are some wild edibles out there that you are going to harvest where part of the plant is not edible, and maybe might even be poisonous. Like, there are some plants out there that maybe the root is edible but the leaf is poisonous, so obviously you don't want to use something that's poisonous. And if you can't figure out another way to use it, at least dispose of it in an environmentally sustainable way, like compost it or put it in your green bin, or if possible take it back to where you harvested and give the parts that you're not going to use back to the earth and the environment, and then they can use it. Now I'm going to move into some other important considerations for gathering wild edibles and stuff like that. And the first one is always make 150% sure that you are positive on your identification, and use multiple sources to make your identification. For example, this is citronella. I am 150% sure this is citronella because, one, the label on the pot that I purchased said it was citronella. Two, I double checked with my Plant ID app that I have on my phone that it was in fact citronella. Three, you can look up online, Google, how to identify citronella, and it will tell you, like, shape of leaf, you know, the fuzzy texture. Another way you can is if you rub it and smell. Citronella has very distinct smell. So I am absolutely sure this is citronella, and for all the same reasons I'm absolutely sure this is pineapple sage, and I'm absolutely sure that this is lemongrass. So I know that all these things are safe for me to consume. And the reason why you want to make 150% or 200%, whatever, absolutely sure, is because there are some plants out there that have poisonous lookalikes that can make you really sick or possibly even kill you. If you saw my video last week where I went for a walk down by the Ottawa River, I said that I thought there was some Queen Anne's lace there, but I wasn't certain. And the reason why, even though I was like 99% certain that was Queen Anne's lace, the reason why I didn't touch it or harvest it or anything like that is because there is a hemlock plant that looks almost identical to Queen Anne's lace, and unless you know how to tell the difference between the two, you should just leave it alone. because the hemlock is extremely poisonous, and I don't want anyone getting sick or dying. The other thing you can do to help make certain on your identification is you can Google, like Google lemon balm poisonous lookalikes, and it will tell you if there's any plants that look similar to the plant that is poisonous. Alright, one of the last things to take into consideration is where you harvest. Never, ever harvest within 2 meters of a roadside. And I know that we all now know what 2 meters approximately is because of COVID. And there's two main reasons why you don't want to harvest within 2 meters of the roadside. And the first one being is because, and my back is still sore from when I threw it out, so I can't bend over and get you a better shot. But tires. As you drive, tires shed microscopic particles off, and it comes and it lands on these plants and this soil. And so basically these plants and this soil is just covered in microscopic particles of tires. And I'm pretty certain nobody on here would want to eat a tire, nor should you want to eat a plant that was grown coated in tire particles and in soil that's full of tire particles. And then the last reason why not within 2 meters of the roadway is because of exhaust. Chemicals are pushed out through your exhaust pipe, and just like with the tire particles, they come and they settle on these plants, and basically these plants grew breathing those toxic fumes. So I'm fairly certain you don't want to eat plants that were grown on toxic fumes. The last thing to take into consideration, this is more a guideline, not necessarily a like you have to do it this way, is if you're going to harvest something that's to be used for medicinal purposes or that you're planning to dry. Don't harvest it within 24 hours of a large rainfall. That is because the plants will soak up a lot of water after a heavy rainfall, and one, it will dilute the medicines, and two, it will be full of water, so it'll take a lot longer for it to dry. So like I said, again, that's not a like, oh my god, don't do this, but if possible, avoid harvesting within 24 hours of heavy rainfall. So that's it for this week. Next week I will take you guys out. I'm hoping maybe I might be able to go to Ushkodawan, but if I can't, I do know some places that I can go that has some wild plants that I can harvest, and I also already took some video footage of some plants in the springtime because I knew by the time I got around to filming this video that they would not be in season. I wouldn't be able to find them, but I would still like to talk about them, so I already have some pre-recorded stuff for you guys too. So that's it for this week, and I hope to see you all next week, and until then, have a great week, stay safe, and take care. Bye.